Jamie, what's the best video game ever made?
Oh, I am not qualified to make a decision like that.
Well, I've asked you the question, so you're gonna give it.
I'm gonna put The Last of Us out there because I like it as a whole. But again, I'm not qualified to answer that kind of question. I don't play
Very,
a lot of video games.
very respectable answer, though. You gotta understand, from somebody who's been playing video games since I was like literally toddler, diapers type shit.
Yeah.
Very, very respectable. The Last of Us. It really is a genius game. Like it's impossible to argue that it's not genius, especially the first one. Like in comparison to what games were at the time, what storytelling within video games was at the time, it was a game changer. Changed everything. It was like it you know, where The Last of Us walked, Red Dead Redemption 2 ran. Because it was no game had that sense of realism ever before. Like there were Call of Duty games, there was war games, there was this and that. Nothing had that level of interpersonal relationships and conflicts like The Last of Us did. It was insane. It was such a jump. I remember when it came out back in 2013. Huge jump. So very respectable answer. Honestly, if I were to give my full review of The Last of Us 2, most of it wouldn't be negative. As much as I hate to say it, and so many people would hate me for saying it, I love The Last of Us 2. I think it's good, but there are...
It's a wonderful game. It's just, I didn't... If anybody doesn't know, there's character death in there that I didn't want to happen, but I get why they did it.
You know, I wasn't a big fan of Joel's death when it happened, but my very good friend, my best friend Nicholas, gave me a very good insight. He said one line that like changed my whole perspective on it. He said, "Sometimes people die like that," and it was just that this is a world where it is dog eat dog. You know, it is very, Joel is a character who doesn't let his guard down. He's constantly put in situations where he has to be on edge and high wire the entire time. So the one time where he put his guard down was the one time that got him killed.
Yep.
And I was like, shit, bro, he just really laid it out like that. He's like, you know, you can't have a ceremonial death even if you like the character. And I was like, shit, bro, you fucking gave it real. So I was like, you know, Joel's death doesn't even really upset me. To me, it was.
It's just the execution. It's just the execution for me personally.
Ellie's decisions for me is what killed me. I was like, now Ellie was a very rebellious, very angry teenager, which I can't get upset at because I was an angry, rebellious teenager. When I watched the cutscenes for The Last of Us 2, like, it hurts me because of how much I can relate. Because for how much I can look at that and be like, I was the exact same way when I was your age, and looking back on that, it's like, I wish you could see my new, older perspective, but you can't because you're young, and that's how that goes. Like, but oh my god!
You don't see it until you're older, yeah, for sure.
And then she does within the game. She feels that regret, that idea of like I should have given Joel more love, which I thought was great. Now, if the third game is a banger, then
the third game that's not happening?
It is happening. They already said it's in production.
Oh, Neil Druckmann said they're probably leaving it behind, just like recently.
Oh,
here, hold on a sec. Let me verify this because I did just see a headline about this, and I'm like, yeah, that's what happens when you polarize your whole fan base.
I'm talking within the last 6 months.
Give me a sec. According to the game directors and TV series boss Neil Druckmann, in an interview with BuzzFeed, Druckmann explained that Naughty Dog is free to move on from The Last of Us just as they did with Uncharted. So he's leaving it entirely up to the dev team.
Honestly, the dev team, when it comes to Naughty Dog, let's not pretend like The Last of Us is not their biggest IP. It definitely is.
Meanwhile, I'm over here like, let it die. Give us Jack 4, please.
Because let me give it to you straight. Listen. I'm gonna tell you something that's gonna hurt your feelings a lot, Wyatt. But I need you to listen it out. Okay.
Okay.
When The Empire Strikes Back first came out, people hated that movie. It got a lot of pushback when it first came out. I'm talking its first couple years. People did not like that movie. It got a lot of pushback. It got a lot of hate. That movie really only developed its cult following in the mid-90s forward. So my prediction is that if The Last of Us 3 comes out and it's a banger, it's an amazing game, The Last of Us 2 is going to become The Empire Strikes Back of The Last of Us, because The Empire Strikes Back is nothing but the protagonists losing. From start to finish throughout that movie, it's just the protagonists losing and running away and trying to regroup and failing and things like that. And then it's the third movie that's the coming back together and the redemption and all of that. If the third game is a banger, then the second one is going to be good by default, literally just because it's nothing but the main characters losing and making bad decisions and learning and growing. So
hey, you're not wrong. The way the cultural zeitgeist functions, you are not wrong.
I'm just saying that's my only hope. Now, I'm not saying that hope is going to be fulfilled. That's just the hope that I'm leaning on. Second one's not the best, but it has points that I think go underrated.
For me, a big issue with the second game is the fact that the gameplay is so divorced from the theme.
No, true. That's actually one of my biggest gripes.
It's like here, let me John Wick through like 5,000 different people, and then Ellie wants to, in the cutscenes, is grandstanding about how the loss of life makes you a villain, and I'm like, ma'am, I'm sitting on a Griffith pile of corpses here. I can't, like, what do you mean?
When you live in a dog-eat-dog world, there is no choosing. There is no playing the philosopher. You know, you choose your side. You pick your side. We have been introduced to Joe and Ellie's story. Joel and Ellie's story. So it's like, you know, they're trying to play this like, oh well, Abby's not bad actually, because everybody's just trying to survive and everybody's just trying to live their life. Yes, we understand. Like, it takes such a smooth brain perspective to not understand that there is no good sides to a war. What you guys need to understand is that we, as the fans, have already picked our side. If you wanted us to empathize with Abby and her friends, you should have made the game about her and her friends. But you didn't.
Or, it's not even that. You just need to pace it differently. Don't show her murdering Joel and then make us take over her story from the beginning. Have both stories playing simultaneously and switch all the way through. Injustice, a game series that I hate with a passion because the story is contrived and stupid, and the only reason anyone is remotely invested in it at all is just to see who dies, does it just the same way. Where Batman and Superman are constantly shifting perspective. The only time it changes is by the end, where you can pick one or the other, and then see how it goes depending on which one you pick.
Personally, I think you should have played as Abby for like the first third of the game, and then all the way up.
She should have been first, and then Ellie, because
all
starting
the way
back
up
with Ellie just puts you back with her and Joel. So
yeah, you should have played as Abby all the way up until. Okay, I can give you exactly how you're supposed to rewrite that game. Play as Abby all the way up until she kills Joel, because right at the beginning of the game, or no, it is at the beginning of the game. When, I forget who says it, but it's one of Abby's friends. She's like, are you sure you want to go through with this? And it's like, that is bad writing, because this group of people has been walking for weeks to get to this location. Can you imagine going out on a journey with somebody for weeks, and when you finally get to the end point, you ask somebody, are you sure?
Are you sure?
It's like, that doesn't happen anywhere. So start the game off with Abby and her friends and doing their shenanigans. Make the mission that they are on ambiguous to the viewer because the characters within the universe already know why they're traveling and where they're going and what they're doing. But the player doesn't, but the characters do. So have the characters go through, make the mission ambiguous, have Abby meet up with Joel, and then that's the familiar face to the audience. And it's like, oh, I know that character, I know that person, cool, now I can follow the story better, right? Then get up to the point where she kills Joel, now you fucking hate Abby, and then play the rest of the game as Ellie. And the other thing, the game ends on the idea of like, oh, Ellie feels real bad about killing somebody, feels remorse, she can't do it, all this and that. But the whole game is you just murking people without remorse, without care of who they are or who they're connected to. In the game, make more interactions where you are incentivized to not kill somebody. Like, I always gave to my buddy next to me, I gave him the example of, imagine a room that is full of upgrade materials, is full of supplies, just stocked full. It's like the player's dream, just to go top to bottom floor and collect all of this stuff, and it would give you so much. But the second that you enter the building, another group enters the building, and you start listening to their dialogue, and you hear that they've got, like, sick kids that they need to take care of. Imagine you hear that this group has good reasons as to why they would need this supplies, and it'll give you, the player, the incentive to not attack these people, let them loot into the whole house, and let them leave with their lives before you move on. Like, that would give you more of an incentive to not want to kill people, rather than to just brush through the whole game, slaughtering whoever's in the path until you get to the very end, and then I was like, you can't do it! It's like, it makes no sense. And also, Dina, useless character. Absolutely is in the way.
Dude, another thing that like obliterated any goodwill I could have to that game was the fact that the advertising was blatantly false. There was a whole trailer that made it look like Dina is Ellie's girlfriend, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Made it look like Dina died and Ellie was going after the people who did it, and at the end of the trailer you see Joel standing where that Asian dude whose name I never remember is standing, and he's the one who's like, he's the one who says, "You really think I was gonna let you do this on your own?" Like, they even had Troy Baker record a line. Not only would that have been cool, that would have been a better story.
It would have been.
Yeah.
They even have the homophobe cult. The pieces are there. So, like, you could do it. You could do the thing. You could virtue signal, have a believable tragedy, and you could make room for Joel to die in a way that doesn't piss off the entire fan base through your crappy pacing.
That scene was so shoehorned in. Like, I played that game all the way through, but it was made during that period of time. It was made, like, between 2017 and, like, today, basically. Is like, it's in that period of time where game companies felt the need to be, like, overly woke more than they needed to be.
Ever since 2016, it's been like that. Let's be real.
I mean, it's just like that whole scene of, like, we don't like nuts in our society. It's like, you can so clearly tell this was shoehorned in as, like, look, this is what a Republican looks like. It's basically like that. And I'm just like, this is fucking stupid. I can guarantee you that during the zombie apocalypse, nobody would care.